Hey guys, today I thought I'd just make a quick little video showing how to change over a tire on a tire machine. This is a Quotes rim clamp tire machine. There's tons of different kinds of tire machines out there, but for the most part they all kind of operate the same. The rim clamp ones anyways, the pedals and everything, as far as I've seen, they all pretty much run the same. So if you bought yourself a tire machine to do your own tires, or you're just starting a new job and need some guidance, I guess, feel free to watch this video. I'll try to show you guys as best as possible. The first thing you gotta do, of course, let the air out of the tires. So I'm just gonna move the cap and take a cord tool. They usually look something like this, and just remove the cap. Same thread as usual, lefty loosey, righty tighty. After the air is out, you want to break the beads. With this machine, you operate it, you pull up, goes in, goes down, goes out. Some machines have a pedal for that, they operate in different ways, but basically want that in and out. And you want to start with the stem, where the valve right here, where it goes up or down. The reason for that is if it has a sensor in there, if you have it right here, you can sometimes break the sensor with breaking the bead. And if it's some Ford rims, I'm not quite sure where they stopped using that. I think it was 2008 or something like that. They do have a sensor on the other side of the valve stem. So if the valve stem is here, they will have a sensor right here. So you don't want to break the bead there either, just in case it has a sensor there. I know this one does not have a sensor there, so I could break it from there, but it's a good habit to just never break at the stem or directly across from the stem. So I always just go 90 degrees, break it once. You want to make sure you don't scratch your rim, right? So you just go in right between the edge of the rim and the tire. Flip it over. So the stem is straight down now. Again, you're not at the stem or across from the stem. Now this side usually will break a little bit harder just because of how the rim works with the drop center. I can explain that part later. But you might need a couple more attempts to break the whole thing. This thing rolls pretty easily, different wheel tires operating. The next part, you want to open your clamp so you can put your rim in there. With this machine, this will rotate the table. Up goes one way and down the other way. And this will open and close the clamp. So this one also has adjustable clamps, so for bigger wheels you can adjust that. I think we should be good right where it is right now, so we're going to open it all the way. It's not big enough after all, so we're just going to make that a little bit bigger. And snap the wheel in this machine. You want to make sure you're not snapping onto the tire. So make sure it's not too big there. Grabbing the outside of the tire and just going to slide in and stuff like that. So we're going to pick it up and just close it down. There you go, and it's nice in there. For the next step, you're going to bring this arm over here. This can be called a duck head, duck bill, duck tail, the whole duck thing. It looks like a duck if you guys have seen one before. I'm just going to show you. So yeah, that's why they sometimes call it a duck. A little head and tail. That's the part that will help you change the tire. So you want to adjust it, make sure it's not touching the rim because you don't want to scratch the rim, right? So for this one, I'm going to go down and then push this lever over so it snaps. So you're just a little bit away from the rim, not touching the rim, not going to scratch it. And then over here, we have another adjustment. So that pushes the arm in and out, so you don't want the duck against the rim as well, because that will cause friction. It can scratch the rim, and yeah, you just don't want it against it. So about 1/8 of an inch away is usually perfect. Next step is pretty important. You want to always have the stem right underneath the duck right here. Some people have it right here. That works as well, but the most safe place is usually right underneath here, and that's as well because of the sensor. I know this doesn't have a sensor, but that would be, if there was a sensor, if you have it anywhere else, there's a good chance you can break it. But if you have it right here, you're gonna flip the tire right over the sensor, so you're not gonna break that. And grab your bar. Now one it might look different. This one just looks like a standard bar. Put it in here. And you wanna make sure that it's nicely just at the edge of the bead, right? Just like that. If you come over to the other side, you can push down right here because, again, of the drop center, I can explain that as soon as I have the tire off the rim. But you want to push the tire down a little bit, and then pull back with this, just like that. And got it pulled right over. So then if we turn it, clockwise, it'll just nicely pull that edge of the tire right there. And again, we're gonna go over to the stem where it's right underneath this arm, just like that. Move the thread over like that. And we're gonna stick this bar right down in there to the second bead. So you want this bar right down to the edge of the second bead, just like that. And then you want to lift up the whole tire. Sometimes with a smaller tire, you can just simply push that over. But you want to lift up the whole tire. For me, it usually works best from this side. Other people have different ways of doing it, but for me, it works best like this. Lift up the whole tire and at the same angle. So right now, it's a little bit at an angle. You want to keep it at that angle and lift straight up. And then you can lift up this side and it'll kind of just push itself over. Just push that bar right over. And got that second bead right on there as well. So then we can just hold this right here and turn the whole table. And the tire's right off there. So now I will quickly explain kind of what I was talking about the drop center. So that would be this right here. You will find some rims, they have it on the bottom. So that means you have to do it upside down. The whole wheel upside down on the machine, which works well usually. But that would be where the tire falls into. So when the tire drops in a little bit, it has to go into this drop center right there. And that allows the other side to slide up a little bit and then over the edge of the rim. So if that wasn't there, it would kind of be impossible to put a tire on there. So yeah, that's a very important part of putting a tire on and off. And like I said, this one doesn't have a sensor, but it does have a stem that sticks out a little bit. So that could also cause a problem when you're taking a tire off. If you start from this side or something like that, the other side of the tire won't want to drop down into the drop center, right? Because it'll just push against here and the tire won't want to drop. So that'll make it a lot harder as well. So it's always best to, when you take off the tire, just start from here. So have this right underneath that arm. That's usually what works best. So in this case, we're gonna buff the edge of this rim a little bit. There's some corrosion on there. So we're gonna clean that up before we throw on a different tire. We are also gonna change the stem, which is something that should be done with every changeover. Every time you put on a new tire, it should always have a new stem in there. So yeah, I'm just gonna grab a wire wheel, buffer, whatever you wanna call it, and clean up the edge of this one. You could clamp from the inside. This machine allows you to clamp from the inside. You can just close the clamps, put the wheel on top, and open it again. That is usually not a very good idea to do. You can scratch the inside of a rim, but if you want to do that, you can, right? So I'm just gonna open this, close it again, and then buff the area with it. For this rim, we're going to put on a regular stem. They're rated up to 40 psi. For different types of rims, different applications, you might have different stems, but for something like this, you're just going to use a regular rubber stem. So we're going to put this tire on now. This is a directional tire, so always make sure you have 2 of each if you put on 4 tires, 2 lefts and 2 rights. We're going to put this one on just like it is now. Grab some lube up the edge of the tire right here, and put the first side on like that. So I do have a stem right here. That is where I'm going to start. So that's where the tire meets the edge of the rim. The bead of the tire meets the edge of the rim is exactly where the stem is. Again, this is because of a sensor. This is the best way to do that. You're not going to break a sensor this way. But if you have it any other way, so if you would have this right here or over there, as a tire pops on, it can pop off the sensor if you do have that. So, and it sometimes makes it just harder to put on a tire. So always have the sensor where the stem where the tire meets the rim. So just like this, tire meets the rim. That's where I'm going to start. That's where the sensor is. Gonna bring this arm over, there, like before, exactly like this, And now the first bead is usually pretty easy, but I'm just gonna spin it a little bit, and then you want to grab the tire and spin with the rim, because sometimes it'll slip if it's slippery, right? And then a lot of things get messed up. So you kind of want to just put pressure on it, and then spin with the rim. So you're gonna take the tire and spin. Boom. Now for the second one, again, same thing. Where the tire meets the rim, I'm gonna have the sensor. Now this is a pretty soft sidewall. This is an easy tire to do. A lot of times it's gonna be a lot harder depending on which tire you have. But I'm gonna press down on this side, so not on that side of the sensor or where the tire meets the rim. Right? I'm not gonna press down here. I'll press down on here and here as well, and then turn the machine. And using this side. So if we put some pressure on here, maybe with the elbow, on here, and then turn with the machine as well. Like just. So like this is a perfect example. It doesn't really want to go into the drop center right there, so it doesn't want to drop onto the rim. So you can grab the bar or hand or whatever, put hand down. If you have a cylinder, we can kind of just push it down a little bit, and it drops right in there. The rest of the tires should go on. I could have it a lot lower as well, so let me just make sure we don't hit it, but I'm going to make it a little bit lower and closer. Because it was that high, it was kind of just jumping onto the tire, so that's something you have to look at as well. You kind of want to find a middle ground. I'm not touching the rim, but not too high where it's just jumping onto a tire. Right? So now it's should pop right on. Move that, push that aside, and put that over there. You might have different types of air hoses, but this machine has a connected one, so I'm just going to connect that and press this pedal down here. There's the pedal right down there, and press that and fill it up. Now right away it doesn't seal, it happens all the time, right? But if you just move the tire a little bit, just get the first seal going, that will start airing up right away. So at this point, I'm going to release the clamp on the rim because you don't want it to seal onto the clamp there. That makes it pretty hard to take off the wheel. So I'm going to release the clamp. And now it's sitting on here loose, right? This thing will probably seat as well pretty easily. It's a very soft sidewall tire. It's going to seat pretty easily, so I'm just going to go up to about 40 pounds. And should have seated better. I did leave the core in there. It does air up slower this way, but if you take it out, you can air up the tire away. 23 pounds, so that's pretty good. I put about 38 pounds in it. It's a truck tire. We can adjust it whenever we put it on the vehicle. Right? So about 38 pounds, and she is good to go. I probably missed quite a few steps there. I tried to show everything as clear as possible, but I probably missed a few things. But I'm going to do one all the way to kind of see how it goes doing just one whole tire and one more. That's pretty much the whole deal. I'm sure I missed a lot of things. I'm sure people will tell me what I missed. Yeah, that's how you change a tire. That's a truck tire, right? I'm not even sure what that size is. 18-inch, 275, right? So that's a pretty simple tire to do. Of course, always make sure that your tire is in good condition. Don't put on something too old, right? They have a higher chance of blowing up. But I know this tire is decently new. I believe it's from last year. So yeah, they're good. Of course, wear your safety gear, steel toes. I have these glasses on, so right now I don't have my safety glasses on. But of course, make sure you have everything safe. Our best friend is always lube. Just if you ever do any type of difficult tires, lube is always your best friend. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. If there's any other videos I make, feel free to subscribe. And at the end of this video, I will add another view of doing tires if you want to see a different perspective of doing a tire like this, if you so desire. But yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thanks.